Hey everyone! Welcome back to the English Blend.
We are so glad you are here with us today.
Leo, I have a question for you.
Oh, a pop quiz already? Sure, go for it.
Have you ever been in an English conversation?
Many times, yes. That is why we host this show.
Exactly, but specifically, have you been talking
Yes?
and then, mid-sentence, your brain suddenly freezes?
Oh, yes, that moment of total panic.
You know the feeling. You understand what the other person said,
Absolutely, I understood them perfectly.
but when it is your turn to speak, nothing comes out.
It's like hitting a wall, right?
It feels like your brain quickly tries to translate your perfect native language answer into English.
Yes, and that process takes too long.
That tiny delay is the topic of our episode today.
We call it the English lag.
We're going to teach you how to train your brain to respond in English without that lag.
That's right, no more mental translation.
Hi everyone, I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo.
Welcome to the English Blend.
We help you learn English through realistic, easy-to-understand conversations.
Our goal is always to make learning simple, everyday English feel natural and fun.
Today we enter the topic of cognitive processing in a second language.
Sounds complicated, but it's really about changing a habit.
Exactly. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, and let's get started.
Let's start by defining what we mean by the English lag.
It's that split second where your brain defaults to your native language.
Defaulting is exactly the right word. It's the path of least resistance.
Our brains are lazy, they want to be efficient.
If you have spent 20, 30, or 40 years speaking one language, that is the super fast highway.
English is currently just a small dirt road next to the highway.
The goal of training your brain is to build a new English superhighway.
So when someone asks you, "How are you?" you don't think, "They asked me, how are you? I should answer good. In my language, that is X. Now translate X back to English."
That whole process is the lag, and it makes you seem less fluent than you actually are.
It's frustrating because you know the answer, but the timing is wrong.
And we should say, this is totally normal. Everyone experiences it.
I experienced it a lot when I started learning Portuguese, for instance.
Oh, tell me about that. A short, relatable story.
Sure, I was ordering food in Lisbon. The waiter asked if I wanted agua con gas, sparkling water.
Okay, simple question.
But I had only ever learned the word for water and no.
You hadn't learned with gas yet.
Correct. So my brain immediately went, he said something about water. Is that a choice? Wait, what is con gas? Translate that. Gas. Why gas? Does he mean fuel?
You were overthinking the translation.
Exactly. I paused for about 8 seconds, and the waiter just looked confused. I panicked and just pointed and said, "Coffee, please."
Avoiding the problem entirely. That is so relatable.
My brain crashed trying to translate one small chunk.
The key insight here is that you need to move from translation mode to response mode.
Response mode is what fluent speakers use. They hear, "How are you?" And the response, "I'm great, thanks," is a single stored unit.
It is automatic. It is muscle memory for your mouth and brain.
We need to train the brain to skip the native language step.
But how do we do that? We need to actively interrupt that old habit.
And the sources say we should be educational but relaxed. So let's talk about interruption techniques.
Let's look at some simple exercises you can start doing today.
This brings us perfectly to our practical tips section.
Okay, tip number 1, and this is crucial for skipping the translation step.
Lay it on us. What is the foundation?
Tip 1, label your immediate environment in English only.
That sounds a bit like old school vocabulary building.
It is, but with a specific goal, bypassing the dictionary.
Tell us more about the goal.
When you see your phone, you want the word phone to appear instantly, not the native word, which is then translated to phone.
So if I walk into my kitchen, I shouldn't think, "I need to open the fridge."
You should only see the object and think fridge. or refrigerator. No native language involved.
How do we enforce this? Do we use sticky notes everywhere?
Sticky notes are a great start. Label your door, your chair, your keyboard, your desk.
That's physical labeling. What about mental labeling?
Excellent point. For mental labeling, every time you touch an object, say its name aloud or whisper it in English.
Ah, so if I pick up a pen to write, I mentally say, pen.
Exactly. You are forcing a direct link between the physical object and the English sound.
This is training the visual and kinesthetic memory, skipping the linguistic translation center.
It requires consistency. Do it for just 10 minutes every morning.
I think that is very actionable. 10 minutes while making breakfast. Mug, stove, toast.
Exactly. You are forcing the brain to default to the English term for common objects.
All right, tip number 2. This one helps with creating longer responses.
Tip 2. Develop a habit of English self-talk, internal monologues.
Talking to yourself, my favorite activity.
Ha! But do it in English. Most people only speak English when they are face-to-face with a native speaker or a classmate.
Right, so we wait for the opportunity.
We need to create the opportunity constantly. Use your thoughts as practice time.
So instead of thinking, I should probably go to the gym later in my language, you force yourself to think, I should hit the gym later. Maybe I will grab a snack first.
This is difficult at first because my thoughts move so fast.
They do. Start small. Narrate one simple activity in your head.
For instance, narrate your commute. The bus is late. I hope it arrives soon. I need to check my phone.
Perfect. You are rehearsing common sentence structures and vocabulary naturally.
And if I get stuck on a word?
That's the advantage. If you get stuck, that's a knowledge gap you need to fill. Look it up later.
So the self-talk helps identify weak points before a real conversation?
Precisely. You are building confidence and expressing your own internal world.
This is great. It's practice without pressure.
Moving to tip number 3, which is about language efficiency.
I love efficiency.
Tip 3. Stop translating individual words. Focus on chunks and phrases.
This relates directly back to your story about the lag, doesn't it?
It does. Many learners hear a sentence and break it down word by word. This is slow.
She is going to the store.
Fluent speakers don't process it that way. They hear she's going to the store as one meaningful unit.
So we need to stop thinking about vocabulary lists and start thinking about phrase lists.
Absolutely. For example, don't learn look forward to, look after, look into.
Those phrases have specific meanings that individual words don't capture.
And your brain can store the entire phrase as one memory unit.
If someone asks, "Are you looking forward to the weekend?"
Your brain retrieves the whole looking forward to chunk, making the response automatic.
It bypasses the mental gymnastics of translating 3 separate words.
Exactly. Language is built on these chunks. We call them collocations or fixed phrases.
This makes sense. We're training the brain for retrieval, not construction.
Speaking of retrieval, let's talk about pressure.
The pressure to respond quickly. Tip 4, implement the 5-second rule, interrupting the translation habit.
Oh, like the rule for dropping food on the floor? 5 seconds is okay?
Ha, not quite, but the idea of a strict deadline is the same.
So what happens in those 5 seconds?
The moment someone finishes speaking, you have 5 seconds to start your response, no matter how imperfect it is.
5 seconds is very fast when you feel nervous.
It is fast, but it forces your brain to skip the native language step.
Why 5 seconds specifically?
It is long enough to formulate a basic English response, but too short to fully translate a complex idea from your first language.
I see. If I pause for 10 seconds, my native language has already won the battle.
Yes, you are trying to speak perfect English, which is often slow English.
So, if I only have 5 seconds, maybe I just say, that's interesting, or let me think about that.
That is the perfect response. You bought time and you responded in English. You didn't default to silence or translation.
We are prioritizing speed and fluency over flawless grammar at the start.
Fluency is about moving the conversation forward. Grammar perfection can come later.
This is a hard tip, but a necessary one for training that immediate response.
Okay, one final tip, tip number 5. This is about context.
Context is everything, right?
Tip 5. Learn and review vocabulary only in contextual situations.
Wait, isn't this similar to tip 3, chunks?
It's related, but tip 3 was about syntax, how words fit together. Tip 5 is about memory retrieval.
How does context help train the brain to skip translation?
Our brains store memories based on context, where we learned something, how we felt, or who we were with.
If I learn the word schedule from a list, it's just a floating word.
Exactly. You have to translate the concept of schedule every time you need it.
But if I learn schedule while reading an email about a doctor's appointment,
Then your brain connects schedule to doctor, appointment, and the visual memory of the email.
it becomes part of a network, not a solitary word.
When you try to retrieve it, the context pulls the word out instantly. No translation needed.
So instead of flashcards with single words, we should use flashcards with full sentences or mini dialogues.
Precisely. Or if you learn a new word while watching a YouTube video, like this one, always remember the situation in the video.
The scenario is the retrieval cue.
It's vital. If you only memorize definitions, you are training the translator, not the speaker.
Wow. 5 fantastic tips for stopping the lag. Let's quickly summarize them.
Label your environment. Force direct object-to-English connection. English self-talk. Practice internal monologues without pressure. Focus on chunks. Learn phrases like look forward to, not single words. The 5-second rule. Force yourself to start speaking quickly. And contextual learning. Use scenarios to build memory networks.
That is a complete brain training regimen right there.
Now that we have the training program, let's quickly focus on some specific language.
We want to give our listeners some powerful phrases they can add to their English response superhighway immediately.
I have 3 phrases related to either speaking, thinking, or responding.
Perfect. Hit me with the first one.
Phrase 1, to be tongue-tied.
Oh, I love that one. What does it mean?
If you are tongue-tied, it means you are unable to speak clearly, especially because you are nervous or embarrassed.
So when I froze in front of the waiter, I was completely tongue-tied.
Exactly. Your tongue felt knotted up and wouldn't cooperate.
Can you give us an example sentence for our listeners?
Sure. I knew the answer during the presentation, but I got nervous and was totally tongue-tied.
A great way to describe the English lag.
Phrase 2, to hit a wall.
We used this earlier, but let's formally define it.
To hit a wall means to reach a point where you cannot continue or make further progress.
It's a great physical metaphor for mental blockage.
It is. It applies to studying, writing, or speaking a language.
So if you are thinking too hard and freeze, you have hit a wall.
You could say, I studied for 3 hours, but by the 3rd hour, I completely hit a wall and couldn't remember any new words.
This phrase is super useful for talking about study limits.
Definitely. And finally, phrase 3, to think on your feet.
I love this one because it's the opposite of the English VOC. It's the goal.
To think on your feet means to be able to think quickly and make fast decisions or responses, especially during an unexpected situation.
This is the skill we are training our brains for, right?
Absolutely. It means you are adapting rapidly in real-time conversation.
So when you handle a tricky question in an interview without pausing, you are thinking on your feet.
Correct. Example, the manager asked me a surprise question, but I managed to think on my feet and gave a good answer.
Tongue-tied, hit a wall, and think on your feet. 3 fantastic phrases for conversational English.
Practice using those in your self-talk this week.
Mia, let's pause and dive a bit deeper into the philosophy behind these tips.
Good idea. We're talking about creating an immersive environment, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country.
Exactly. This is the fun fact/cultural note part of the episode.
What fun fact do you have for us today?
A little observation about how children acquire language versus how adults learn it.
Oh, the classic comparison.
Children don't use translation, right?
They connect the sound, the object, and the feeling directly.
If a child says juice, they learned that sound directly means the sweet liquid in the cup.
They don't first translate the word for juice from another language they might know.
Adults, however, rely heavily on their existing structure. That's why we default to translation.
So the goal of these 5 tips is to force our adult brains to mimic the child's learning process.
We are essentially performing cognitive surgery on ourselves.
A gentle surgery, of course.
But it highlights why tip 1 is so important. It creates that direct sensory link.
And why tip 5 is important too. Children learn words in rich contexts, at the dinner table, in the park.
A cultural note related to this, in English-speaking cultures, especially in professional settings, speed of response is often prioritized.
That's a key cultural insight. A pause of more than a few seconds can sometimes be misinterpreted.
People might think you are confused, or perhaps you disagree, or that you don't know the answer.
Whereas in some other cultures, a pause is a sign of respect, showing you are deeply considering the answer.
It's a huge difference. In English-speaking contexts, we value the ability to think on your feet.
So the 5-second rule, tip 4, isn't just a learning trick, it's practicing a cultural fluency norm.
Absolutely. We are training the rhythm of conversation as much as the language itself.
And the rhythm is fast.
Very fast. And remember, conversational flow is key. A brief response is better than a long silence.
So if you feel tongue-tied, just say, "That's a great point. Let me consider that." And you've met the 5-second deadline.
Exactly. That's using a chunk, tip 3, and meeting the time limit, tip 4, simultaneously.
Let's circle back to tip 2, English self-talk. I want to emphasize how powerful this is for fluency.
I agree. It's free, unlimited practice.
People often tell me they are too busy to practice English.
But you are always thinking. You are constantly holding a conversation in your head.
Yes, and that conversation is your practice room.
Think of it this way. If you try to speak English with another person, there is a lot of pressure. You worry about grammar, pronunciation, and the other person's reaction.
You are juggling too much, and that causes the lag.
But when you talk to yourself, you remove all that external pressure.
It's a low-stakes environment.
And because it's low stakes, your brain is more relaxed, which helps with retrieval.
So how do we make self-talk a habit?
Start with routine moments. When you brush your teeth, narrate the process.
I am applying toothpaste. Now I am brushing my top teeth. I must rinse with water.
Perfect. Keep it simple, everyday English. You are forcing yourself to use those short, clear sentences.
And what if I want to practice more advanced concepts, like summarizing something I read?
That's the next level. After you read an article or watch a show, close your eyes and mentally summarize the main points in English.
This forces active recall, which is much stronger than passive recognition.
If you can't summarize it easily, it means the knowledge wasn't fully integrated into your English brain network.
It reveals the gaps. I think this is a huge step toward training the brain to respond naturally.
Another fun aspect of self-talk is predicting future conversations.
Ooh, I do this naturally in my native language.
Try it in English. If you know you have a meeting tomorrow, mentally rehearse what you might say.
My boss might ask about the report. I should answer, the report is almost finished. I'll send it by lunch.
You are preloading the chunks that you will need.
You are building those automatic responses before the pressure is on.
This combination of self-talk and chunking is the fastest way to shrink the English lag time.
We need to constantly reinforce the English path.
Exactly. It's like paving that dirt road we talked about earlier. Leo, let's address some common challenges people face when trying these tips.
Challenge number 1, consistency. It's easy to forget to do the self-talk or labeling.
That's where habits come in. Link the new English habit to an existing routine.
So link tip 1, labeling, to making morning coffee.
Link tip 2, self-talk, to your commute or walking the dog.
If you forget, don't worry. Just start again immediately. Progress, not perfection.
Challenge number 2, the need for perfection.
This is a killer. Learners worry too much about grammar mistakes.
If you are practicing the 5-second rule, tip 4, your grammar might be messy initially. That is okay.
We have to accept the messy stage. It's the cost of speed. A quick, slightly messy response shows you are thinking on your feet. A delayed perfect response shows you are translating.
Which sounds more fluent, the quick one.
So if you say, I am go store, instead of I am going to the store, just keep moving.
The listener understood you, you maintained conversational flow, you achieved your goal.
You can correct the grammar later in your self-talk session.
Challenge number 3, vocabulary overload.
This relates to tip 5, context. People try to learn 50 new words a day from a random list.
And they wonder why they hit a wall when trying to use them.
If you learn 50 words out of context, your brain stores them as abstract definitions.
If you learn 5 words tied to a movie scene, a funny story, and an emotional moment,
those 5 words are integrated and ready to use in a real conversation.
less is more, provided it's learned contextually.
We aren't trying to build a static dictionary in your mind. We are trying to build an active response system.
An active system needs situational triggers.
Speaking of triggers, let's talk a bit more about the power of emotional triggers.
This is fascinating. How do emotions help us learn English faster?
Think about a time you had a very embarrassing or funny moment while speaking English.
Oh, I remember that time I accidentally called a colleague my husband instead of my assistant.
That's a strong memory. Do you remember the word for assistant now?
Absolutely. I will never forget it. The high emotion cemented the correct word placement.
So if you can inject humor, excitement, or even playful annoyance into your learning,
Your brain pays more attention, and the memory becomes more solid.
this is why we try to keep the tone friendly and conversational on the English Blend.
We want you to feel relaxed and engaged, which aids memory storage. Use jokes and playful comments even in your self-talk. Make the internal monologue fun.
If you are trying to learn a complicated phrasal verb, create a silly, memorable sentence using it.
For example, learning to look down on. You might think, the cat looks down on me because I cannot reach the top shelf.
It's relatable, it's funny, and it establishes context very clearly.
So, make learning memorable, make it emotional, and make it part of your routine. Wow, we covered a lot today about training that English-ready brain.
It was a deep dive. The core message is clear. Stop translating and start responding.
The transition from translation mode to response mode takes dedication, but the results are incredible.
Let's just run through those 5 actionable steps one last time.
1. Label everything in your world. Force that immediate English recognition.
2. Engage in daily English self-talk. Build that internal practice room.
3. Learn in chunks and phrases. Make your language retrieval efficient.
4. Use the 5-second rule. Prioritize fluency over perfection.
And 5. Contextualize your learning. Connect words to scenarios, not lists.
If our listeners implement just 1 or 2 of these tips this week, they will notice a difference.
Even 5 minutes of focused self-talk while waiting in line can interrupt the native language default.
Remember, every time you successfully respond in English without translating, you are paving that English superhighway in your brain.
Don't be afraid to sound simple or make mistakes.
Mistakes are just information about where your brain needs more practice.
Focus on being able to think on your feet instead of being tongue-tied.
That's a great summary phrase right there.
We really hope this episode gives you the tools to feel more comfortable and automatic when speaking English.
We encourage you to try the 5-second rule in your next conversation, even if it's just with a friend or a study partner.
Practice daily, stay consistent, and remember that fluency is a journey, not a destination.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The English Blend.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please like, subscribe, and share it with other English learners.
We love having you with us. Next week, we're going to be talking about mastering English small talk from weather to weekend plans.
That sounds like a perfect next step for all our newly trained brains.
Yes, see you in the next episode of The English Blend.
Bye for now.